Hello. It's nice to see you again. For today's lesson, we will learn how to analyze the elements of the plot in a story. But before we begin, let's find out what you already knew in our lesson. You'll just choose the letter of the correct answer. 1. It shows the highest point of interest, suspense, and turning point of the story. A. Conflict. B. Climax. C. Exposition. D. Resolution. Letter B. Climax. 2. It provides information about the characters and the setting. A. Climax. B. Rising action. C. Exposition. D. Resolution. Letter C. Exposition. 3. It shows how things end up in the story. A. Climax. B. Exposition. C. Resolution. D. Rising action. Letter C. Resolution. 4. It introduces and develops conflict, or the main problem faced by the character. A. Exposition. B. Falling action. C. Resolution. D. Rising action. Letter D. Rising action. 5. It shows how the character solved the conflict, or the problem. A. Climax. B. Falling action. C. Exposition. D. Rising action. Letter B. Falling action. Now, let's talk about plot. Plot is the chain of events that make up a story. In that sequence of events, we learn more about the characters, the setting, and how the story develops from beginning to end. Plots are typically made up of 5 main elements, namely, exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. This is a map of the plot of a story. The first part of the plot is the exposition. It provides information about the character and the setting. Character is a person, an animal, or an imaginary creature that appears in a story. Like Elsa in Frozen, Simba in The Lion King, and Ariel in The Little Mermaid. Setting is the time and place in which the story unfolds. The place or scene may be imaginary or real. Now, after the characters and setting are introduced, the events of the story begin to create suspense as the character faces conflict. This part is the rising action. It introduces and develops conflict, or the main problem faced by the character. It includes the events that help to build toward the climax of the story. Climax shows the highest point of interest, suspense, and turning point of the story. This is the moment where the main character reaches, or fails to reach, their goal. Falling action occurs right after the climax, when the main problem of the story resolves. It shows how the character solved the conflict, or the problem. It winds the story down from the climax to the story's end. We are now in the last part of the story plot. The resolution. Resolution shows how things end up in the story. Now, let us analyze the plot of the story, Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time there were 3 little pigs. One pig built a house of straw while the second pig built his house with sticks. They built their houses very quickly, and then sang and danced all day because they were lazy. The third little pig worked hard all day and built his house with bricks. A big bad wolf saw the two little pigs while they danced and played and thought, "What juicy tender meals they will make." He chased the two pigs and they ran and hid in their houses. The big bad wolf went to the first house and huffed and puffed and blew the house down in minutes. The frightened little pig ran to the second pig's house that was made of sticks. The big bad wolf now came to this house and huffed and puffed and blew the house down in hardly any time. Now, the two little pigs were terrified and ran to the third pig's house that was made of bricks. The big bad wolf tried to huff and puff and blow the house down, but he could not. He kept trying for hours, but the house was very strong, and the little pigs were safe inside. He tried to enter through the chimney, but the third little pig boiled a big pot of water and kept it below the chimney. The wolf fell into it and died. The two little pigs now felt sorry for having been so lazy. They too built their houses with bricks and lived happily ever after. Let us now do the plot diagram of the story. The exposition is this. Once upon a time there were three little pigs. One pig built a house of straw while the second pig built his house with sticks. Then, the third little pig built his house with bricks. In rising action, this is the conflict. A big bad wolf saw the two little pigs and chased them. Then, the big bad wolf went to the first house and blew the house down. And then, the big bad wolf went to the second house and blew the house down. The next event, the big bad wolf tried to huff and puff and blow the brick house down, but he could not. The turning point of the story, or the climax, is when the big bad wolf tried to enter through the chimney, but the third little pig boiled a big pot of water and kept it below the chimney. We are now in the falling action. The wolf fell into the big pot and died. Finally, we are in the end part of the story, which is the resolution. The two little pigs now felt sorry for having been so lazy. The two little pigs built their houses with bricks, too, and lived happily ever after. We made it. Now, let's see if you could still remember the lesson by playing the word jumble. Rearrange the letters to find out what elements of the plot are being shown and described. 1. It introduces and develops conflict, or the main problem faced by the character. Rising action. 2. It provides information about the character and the setting. Exposition. 3. It shows the highest point of interest, suspense, and turning point of the story. Climax. 4. It shows how things end up in the story. Resolution. 5. It shows how the character solved the conflict or the problem. Falling action. Are you ready for a short quiz? Analyze what element of the plot each event represents in the story of Cinderella. Write your answer on a piece of paper. 1. The prince had found the girl he was looking for. And so, Cinderella and the prince got married. 2. Once upon a time there was a kind and beautiful girl, whose name was Cinderella. She lived with her cruel stepmother and stepsisters. 3. Cinderella's stepmother would not let her try the slipper on, but the prince let her try it on. Her foot fit perfectly into it. Then she took out the other glass slipper from her pocket. 4. The prince realized that she was the beautiful girl he had danced with at the ball. 5. As she ran down the stairs, one glass slipper fell off, but Cinderella did not stop to pick it up. Here are the answers. Number 1 is resolution. Number 2 is exposition. Number 3 is climax. Number 4 is falling action. Number 5 is the rising action. Congratulations! You can now analyze the plot in a story. See you in our next lesson. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to click the like button, share this video to your friends, and subscribe to my channel.